Hey everyone, Ashley Stroehlein here, filling in for Chris Jenkins on Charlotte Vibe, covering Panthers training camp on this Monday, August 11th. And we're going to get to some of the big plays that happened momentarily. I know Chris likes to give you the play-by-play. I'm going to highlight some of the things that I thought were standout moments of camp. But following today's practice, head coach Dave Canales did address the media. Here's what he had to say about what he saw from his team in practice today. Of course, this was after their first preseason game, which was on Friday against the Cleveland Browns. He felt like this was very much a good look at what a routine week is going to be come this season.
Had a corrections walkthrough, did our injury report and all that. We came out really clean from the game, just some bumps and bruises, nothing really of note. And then they had a player's day off. So it felt like a Monday, Tuesday off, and here we go. And I could sense and I could feel that guys were still a little bit sore from the game. The practice, I was nervous that we were going to kind of start out slow. They did not let that happen. The guys got together, they challenged each other, and the energy was great from play one until the end, where it really started to rain on us, and I think it was just a really cool moment for me to kind of point to this afternoon to say, this is it. We don't get do-overs. You think about it, a week in the regular season, you might get 2 live reps and 2 walkthrough reps of a play. And that's about what you get. You got to nail it. You have to be able to bring it and be focused. And it was a great challenge. Felt good to kind of point it out that way.
Now, Coach Canales also shared with us that Austin Corbett has won the starting center position over Cade Mays. You may remember last season, Mays did start the first 5 games, but then suffered a torn bicep, which ended his season. But the two have competed in camp, and Coach Canales says Austin Corbett will be their starter come week 1. Canales also shared an injury update on Chandler Zavala, saying that Zavala is getting closer to his return, and they hope to have him in the 3rd preseason game against Pittsburgh, just so he's getting some reps before that regular season return. Coach Canales said that he did speak with his receiver Xavier Legette following his ejection from the team's preseason game on Friday, which was against the Cleveland Browns. Legette threw some punches, had an altercation in the first quarter of that game. He did not return. He tweeted out he was taking responsibility and apologized to the fan base and the Carolina Panthers. And Coach says he feels confident that you won't see those actions from Legette any further as the season progresses. Moving on now to some other things we saw today in practice, and I want to get to some of the plays that stood out. A very spirited practice, lots of good energy, the music flowing per usual, and players just going out there and giving it their all. As you know, a lot of these guys are trying to make that final 53-man roster, and this is their time to prove exactly why they deserve to be. So I know Chris usually does a play-by-play of what's going on, and he breaks down every play for you. That is his expertise, and so I'm going to let him continue to do that for you as training camp goes on. For me, I'm going to give you some of the highlights of what I saw. Some good news, Jayce Horn was back on the field. He was not in pads. He did have that accident last week as he was heading to the stadium. He had stitches in his hand. Coach Canales said that if this were the regular season, you would see Jayce Horn back on the field and playing, but as the team heads to Houston for those joint practices this week, he says he doesn't feel like there's a reason to put Horn out there, but it's to be determined. He knows Jayce would love the opportunity to go against some of the Texans receivers in the preseason, but again, making his way back, not in pads today, but going through some drills and encouraging the defense while he's sidelined with that injury and those stitches in his hand from his car accident. Hunter Renfrow also participated in practice as he's been dealing with a hamstring injury for most of this training camp. We haven't got a chance to really see him. He didn't play in the preseason game either. He was out all last week. But today we saw him going through drills. He was in one-on-ones competing and also saw him doing punt returns. So some good news there as he works his way back from his hamstring injury. Some more positive news for the Panthers on the injury front. Derrick Brown is expected to play in the team's 2nd preseason game against Houston. He did miss the first preseason game last week. Brown looked good in practice, even had a tipped pass. And as you know, the team very excited to get DB back after he was out last year due to injury. All right, one other injury update. Robert Hunt did go down briefly in practice. He did get back up and finish the series he was a part of, but Canales shared post-practice that Hunt did get his ankle taped, but he didn't have any further injury updates, so we will monitor that for you as training camp goes on this week. All right, how about some 11 versus 11? Let's talk about that. The standout play of the day, in my opinion, Bryce Young rolling out and throwing a deep pass to Jalen Coker for the touchdown. That was a nice off-platform throw for BY9, so everyone on the sidelines raving about that. The guys on the field cheering when that pass was completed for a touchdown. So Jalen Coker continuing to prove why he deserves to get some playing time this season, and Coach Canales did say he took notice of that as well. We also saw a nice fake handoff and an out route deep throw to Dominique Daphne from Bryce, so a lot of connections there on the field. There were also a number of handoffs to both Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle for short gains during that portion as well, so the team kind of switching it up on different plays, different things, getting a lot of their offensive players involved as they kind of work through training camp and see what this offense is going to look like in 2025. A lot of great competition during those one-on-ones as well. We saw Young make stellar passes to Adam Thielen in coverage deep. Thielen showing you why he is the vet he is, as he's in year 13 in the league. So still looking great. A lot of connection, a lot of chemistry with those two as well. The defense, I'm not going to count them out, though, because we did see a lot of pass breakups, a lot of great coverage. But I was impressed with what we saw from Bryce and the chemistry that is developing among that crowded wide receiver room. A lot of guys proving why they want to be the starter, why they want to be out there making those big plays. Another guy that came up in Coach Canales' post-game presser, or excuse me, not post-game, but post-training camp practice presser, was Jayce Horn. Very impressive with his footwork, very impressive during one-on-ones. And Coach Canales said he's been impressed with what he's seen, and his message to Jimmy is to continue to show the team. He said, show us why you belong on the field, show us why you belong on this team. So continuing to impress as he looks to make his way into the NFL and make an impact here with the Carolina Panthers. So again, those are my big standouts from this Monday, August 11th practice and what Coach Canales had to say in his press conference as he just wrapped that up a little while ago. Again, I'll be back in for Chris tomorrow, and I'll continue to do the same. I hope you guys enjoyed this report and are enjoying what Charlotte Vibe is doing. And as Chris always reminds you, if you haven't already, click, subscribe, comment, like, give us your feedback. And as for me, let me know what you liked about these reports and these updates, and I'll continue to do my best as I get the opportunity to fill in.